This episode of Speakers of Heidelin is made possible by our generous patrons. Special thanks to our Supreme and Master Speakers, Omeji Cat Comet, Erisu Yamakawa, Alex Franco AV, Winebow Brood, Aurora Templeton, Psyche, Asuta Starbreeze, Cletus Oreo, Nina Grimstarter, Lily Black, Bob Cece, Mictor Rabentau, Anathos Moonscar, Pamela Isley, Alenriel Maximus, Codrith Novelist, Mira Miri, Celestio Notrell, Lazy Boy, Luke Osborne, Pandaloo Stormarrow, Tex, Kylin, Arthur Law, Barry Derard, Cypop, Spencer Christmas, Celine DeLune, Edwin, Webster Wolf, Severa, Circa Barrakiel, Kazran, Ventos Tia, Ryark Forbear, Leighton the House, Tony, Arcadia Lunashine, Framboise Sakuro, Bergie, Fudge, Seffield Cafe, and Gregorium Cartus. Get early access to audio and video versions of the show, including the post-show, by supporting us at patreon.com/SpeakersXIV. Thank you. Good evening, Ayorsians. Welcome to Speakers of Heidelin, episode 422. I'm Lakeel Bravestone, and I'm joined today by Georgi Wiston, Rolodes, and Mela Vana'diel. Whoa, wrong order. Georgi...
Oh my god.
I said your names. Hello!
Hi.
Welcome. It is October the 5th. We are in the spooky month. Spooktober is underway on our channel, but of course have to do the podcast still. So today we're going to cover a Yoshi-P interview with Sports Illustrated. Which is
favorite gaming magazine.
Very random, yeah.
That's where I get all my gaming news from.
Yeah.
Well, I go by SI Gaming so that you don't associate it with magazine.
Yes. Because real gamers don't read Sports Illustrated; they read SI Gaming. Okay, we'll also be reading your MogMail, speakersofv.com/MogMail. Stay tuned for the post show. We'll be answering questions from the Syndicate, and will we be reading Near Far wherever you are, Mela?
I did not translate the next section.
Okay.
Color code. It's an odd one though, because halfway through, without warning, she's just copied and pasted the entire chapter again.
Oh.
So it's half as long
That's
as you
curious.
think it would be.
Okay.
That's about what I'd expect.
But I'll
from
say this
fiction
though,
from that era.
The writing and the I thought last time was peak, but it just gets worse. She's not. Maybe not English.
That's promising. She's changing.
Well, it just feels very poor.
Okay. All right.
This dissection of a fan fiction that no one watching the podcast will ever hear is well worth everyone's time.
Better watch.
100%.
Watch live. Watch the post show. All right. So that's in the post show. So make sure you catch that. I did mention Spooktober's underway. If you want to see what we're going to play this month, you can go to our website, speakersofv.com/ you know what? Just go to speakersofv.com, and there's literally a menu button. You just press Spooktober 2024 there, and it'll show you the schedule. Also, if you're watching live, you can always do !Spooktober to get access to the schedule. All right, that's that out of the way. Let's move on. It's time for recent events. We don't have a lot of recent events today, but we do have an important announcement for housing. There is a temporary suspension of automatic housing demolition in effect for North America. From all of us at the 14 development and management team, our hearts go out to those who were affected late last month by Hurricane Helene. Helene? That's an interesting name.
Don't ask me why it's pronounced like that. It just is.
Okay. In North America. Due to the damages and other factors, we have decided to temporarily suspend the automatic demolition of estates. Date and time, auto demolition counter will be suspended Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024 at 1:08 a.m. PDT. Very specific. Worlds in which auto demolition will be suspended, all the worlds under Ether, Crystal, Dynamis, and Primal Data Center. After the above date and time, the counter will stop completely. If your estate or land is currently being prepared for auto demolition, you can cancel this status by entering your estate or constructing an estate on your land. When the auto demolition counter resumes, it will resume from the time remaining as of the temporary suspension. Excludes estates/lands where the demolition process has been cancelled. As for when auto demolition will resume, We will monitor the situation in the coming days and inform you all when we have come to a decision that auto demolition can commence again. It is our sincere hope that the recovery is swift, and those of you who were affected will be able to rejoin us in N14 soon.
Is it a W?
It's a W? Oh, right. I see.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he said for the storm. Like,
Yeah.
No, from the dev team.
Yeah.
That's
Sometimes they miss out on similarly catastrophic events and don't do it, so it's nice when they do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always kind of strange which ones they kind of prioritize, but I'm glad this one. It's almost weird to think about it, this storm, how bad it was, and how it's kind of just falling to the wayside right now.
Well,
Yeah.
the crazy
Yeah.
thing is
Yeah.
how it's affected places that people didn't think would be affected by a storm like this.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
all of the Appalachia essentially. So good
Yeah.
luck to you guys. I'm so sorry about that. It's very bad.
Yep, remember, like someone pointed out in the chat, this is not a reset, this is a pause. So even if you, when the timer restarts, you still need to go into your house if you're close to getting your house demolished. So
But if
keep that in mind.
if you go in at any time during the pause, it will reset it.
Yes, yes. Okay, there you go. That's all we have for recent events. Is this so? Yikes! Let's jump into MogMail. It's time for MogMail. We have lots of MogMail, so let's go. This is from Vrohan Tia from Phoenix. Hello, speakers. Me again. A few hours after this. Oh yeah, we teased this 2 weeks ago. This is the second MogMail they sent in. A few hours after my last question. For me, and probably not for you. That is correct. I was just thinking about Golbez, the real one in the crystal, and the belief that he might be the 13th shard counterpart of the Warrior of Light. I felt that they let it be unclear if he was death, so to have a possible power-up for the future. And if they might try to do the same with the counterpart on the 9th shard. New Alexandria was on the 9th, like it being a soul constantly in use.
That's fair, actually, because we don't know who our shard is from the 9th.
No,
True.
there's lots of speculation, but
Mm-hmm.
not really anything in game.
Fiend herself.
I think Sven's probably a popular one for people to assume, but I don't think it would be.
Out of the current cast of characters we know from the 9th, I couldn't really pinpoint anything. If you really wanted maybe stretch something, like maybe Otis, but that one feels like a super stretch.
Yeah, I think he just was a Steiner reference more than anything.
Yeah.
We could meet one of them in the what's it called? What's the raid series called?
Arcadian.
The Arcadian.
Okay.
Yeah, we could meet them during the Arcadian series.
Could be the president.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that'd be very funny and almost unexpected if whatever your shard is on the 9th, it's like he does even fight. Like they don't even do anything. They're just like an announcer or like they're a business Moogle.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the energy drink vendor.
Yeah, I feel like we don't. Yeah, I don't really have any clear view. There's no clear character yet that we've seen from the 9th that stands out as potentially being us. But yeah,
Golbez seems pretty strong.
Golbez.
Oh, Golbez
yeah.
for sure. I'm pretty sure.
And Xenos with the other dude too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really good.
We left Golbez's crystal with the new Golbez, right?
Yeah. Who would be Xenos' shard if that is the case? Maybe.
Right.
It's just a theory.
Yeah,
Game
it's just
theory.
it's just a game theory,
Just a
folks.
theory.
Yeah.
Durante, that's what it is.
Durante.
And-
Yeah.
And we left the Ashdaya crystal or the Zeromus crystal in the first, right?
Do you know,
Why are you asking such difficult questions?
It's
I don't think this is a difficult question.
It's a blur. It's such a blur.
Why don't you remember? You always remember things. Why are you asking us?
I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Are you testing us?
Not really. It wasn't really a test. It was more so like, does anyone else remember this so that I can definitely know I'm correct?
I don't.
Not outside my head, but it seems like that is the case. So apology to people think we actually play this game.
Yeah,
we don't.
I don't want to play this game.
See, what I was thinking was that maybe if they can figure out how to extract the darkness from that crystal, we might end up going back to Durante to pick up this crystal that may or may not be our shard from the void. Because I don't think we've ever established. I don't think anyone has ever theorized in universe that is our shard.
No,
right?
No, they're pretty light-handed with it after Ardbear, which I think is fine. I don't think you have to confirm every single shard for every character, including our own. I think it's fine to just kind of leave them ambiguous.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a plot point in the future, though, like we've talked about before, where we have to like power up.
Yeah.
And I think they would leave enough breadcrumbs for us to theorize, but never confirm in case they need to move it in, a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
I think that.
You think what? I was hoping you'd keep talking because.
Did you stop talking just as I switched my battery?
No, I tried to. I was just saying. I think
I was trying to be fast.
You weren't fast.
No,
not quick enough.
No.
I would have had to go.
Sorry, I forgot to switch my battery before the podcast and it died just now. Okay, well, yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of first-person stuff when we're looking at the echoes. I'm sure it's us.
Yeah,
they don't gender Golbez as well, do they?
That's true.
I don't think they do. I think
he's under like a 5-ton layer of armor too.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
he could be anyone under there.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you.
Imagine if he's like a Lullafell and he's like like a Gundam.
Yeah.
Oh, like
a mech.
He's just like in there, like T-posing, reaching out to every lip.
That would be so funny.
Yeah.
I don't want us to be alive.
God, I should have talked about this at the top of the show, but when we talked about the 11 raid the other day, I have to talk about this. I have to bring this up.
Oh, yeah.
Comment.
There was a
mini comments of the week segment.
Mini comments of the week. Okay, we were talking about
make your head bounce around the screen.
I'll have to make a face. There we go, and then usually that would be frozen and then it would fly across. For those that remember that, I think we made 4 episodes, so I think 4 faces eventually started jumping around on screen. We talked about the 11 raid, the first walk, Juno or whatever, and the sky. Yeah. Remember, I kept there was something there, but I just couldn't remember. Now you have to remember that when I played 11, base 11, I was 11 years old or 10. I don't remember. I was a child, a Norwegian child. At that, so
the worst kind.
My English was not very good, and I played with Norwegians as well. I should mention.
Wow.
Which is why I always think mamulja, because that's what we would call them.
I
right?
think that's cute.
That's always the mamulja.
all the monster names in 11, especially base, are all Norwegian in my head. There is content in 11. Now, this is from Wings of the Goddess. This is like, I was a bit older then. But this is, the link is very obvious now that it has to be connected to Walk of Echoes, which is essentially
nothing.
No, I'll try to explain it very quickly. It's basically the Alliance raid equivalent in 11. I mean, there's a lot of big party content in 11, but this is one of them. And it involves Atomos, but also true Atomos. So in 11,
excuse me.
Do you remember when we played 11 and you would see those Atomoses at the, like,
yes.
They would be just standing around like gaping moths or whatever they're called. Cavernous moths, I think they're called. Yeah, they are teleports into, you can go back and forth in time. Remember, they have time travel in there, so you can go back in time and to a different dimension. But also in between worlds is where Walk of Echoes is. It's sort of where memories, past, and potential like futures are just thrown in. And I don't remember the full lore behind this, but that's exciting if true, because for those of you that are still clinging on to the fact that Vana'diel is somehow linked to the source, maybe it is, but it's just like one of the potential, futures of our world or past. And Atomos like throws you in there. And the true Atomos is huge, and it's just like a huge open like portal mouth in the sky. If we get to see that in 14, I want that. And it makes sense now because it's like the first walk. So we're probably going to walk through a memory from 11. It's called Echoes of Vana'diel, so it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So we're just going to see like some sort of potential. It might be because it is potential as well. It might not be real, like canon to the 11 lore. Might just be one of the potential futures of Vana'diel. So that's very interesting. Just wanted to say that.
Do you think we'll meet Kupo Freed, the King of Mughals?
Sure. I mean, we can meet anyone. We can meet anyone in there if we want to. At this point, if this really is in the in-between worlds, put anything in there. Put everything from 11 in there, Though the Shadow Lord is in there, so I wonder if he's like involved in this somehow, or if he is also just an echo. I don't know. Depends. Yeah, also for those that wonder, it was Walk of Echoes was a 36-man raid.
Oh, that's odd.
Strange number.
It was strange numbers in 11. I think like a full party is a full. What is a full party size chat for those that remember? It's not.
Is it 5?
Is it 5? Isn't that light? Isn't that like a small party?
Oh, full.
6. It's 6.
6.
5? I'm getting 5
say,
and 6 in chat, but I thought it was.
I was going to say it has to be. If you're going to have even parties, it has to be 6 or 9, and I don't think it's 9.
No, 6 is yeah. Okay. 5
like
trust
6
slots
parties,
today. Yeah, it's pretty was pretty cool at the time. Probably still is, but good luck, I think, trying to fill a 36-man today.
Oh, exactly, yeah. I don't think there's 36 players online.
No, I think you'll just have
sure
6 people with 5 trusts each. I think is what you're going to get. It is trustable, from what I understand.
I think you'd probably get, you'd probably have Discord servers.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Are about doing it with people in the same way that you still have people getting together for Baldessian Arsenal.
Yeah.
Still do.
You know what's rarely, interesting though, and I don't know if they will be able to do this. Walk of Echoes is linked to Kai Shir, I guess we call him here. Kai Shi? What's the correct way? No, Kate Sith.
Kai Shi. Kate Sith is 7.
Yeah.
Kai Shi.
Kai Shi.
But I don't know what you'd have said in.
He is heavily linked to the Atomos storyline and that whole shit. So we might get him linked in because he is in our game, but he is linked to Alliance Raid. Yeah, so it makes sense. Alliance Raid. So he can definitely be part of the storyline.
Seeing him again. He was fun.
Kai Shi in our universe, or Kate Sith, was made by the head mage of Mark, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He is Marky, yeah.
And Atomos is a void sent, right? So we might link into that whole void arc.
It'll be a bit weird at this
somehow.
point in time, though, because we've used Atomos's, or we've used what Atomos's can do to help us voice travel and world travel now. Anyway,
yeah,
they're not as mysterious as they used to be.
That's true. But
they aren't as mysterious as they used to be, but I don't know if we necessarily know all the ways in which they can be used still.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
It's still very strange ability to just have you can open your mouth and open a portal.
It's a living creature that makes portals.
Mm-hmm. And if they want to introduce the true Atomos as well concept, then there's a lot they can spin from that as well. So.
I would like to see Kate Sith back though from the Sky Pirate people. It's been ages.
Yeah,
and he's such an integral. He's such a character.
It's a very well liked storyline from what we've heard. Yeah. So it'd be a great way to bring them back. Anyways, that's just some 11 stuff there. I just wanted to say that. Next, MogMail. Let's move on. And it is coming from Roxy. Wait, what? Lalonde. Sorry, I scrolled too far. From Fairy. Hello. You often report on interviews Yoshi-P has done. So I've been wondering what you would ask him. Oh, how what you would ask him if you had the opportunity to interview him yourself. If you had the chance to meet him and he promised to answer one question of your choosing completely truthfully, what would you ask? Well, we did not plan this, by the way. This just happened to be next in line.
No. For people that don't know, I am going to a seminar with Yoshi-P next Tuesday for me. I think it'll be Monday. I don't know. It's probably Tuesday morning for you guys.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to think of a question because we can email in one question to potentially ask Yoshi-P.
Yeah.
So that's why this is
fortuitous. And the reason why he still doesn't have one is because none of us have been able to think of a question. That's
well. The issue is that this question for this seminar is not specifically about 14. I have 14 questions for Yoshi-P. But if the question that I was thinking of asking him for this seminar was, what genre of video game that you have not worked on would you like to potentially make?
Okay, well, that's good.
One.
That's good.
It gives him a chance to talk about a lot.
Yeah.
This is a difficult question because the two questions that I would like, if I was, if they had Verita Serum and they were forced to answer correctly, the two questions I would want to ask are more lore. So I think Koji Fox or someone would be better. But I would like to know, firstly, what was the intention behind the Sid's goggles moment? Because we'll never know otherwise. And secondly, what was the intention behind Silvertear Lake? Like under Silvertear Lake.
What was actually under there? Yeah. Okay, that's
if
a good question.
If they're going to answer truthfly, I would get something like that out. But it's
Why did they
Yoshi-P's
burst
that
out of
might
the
not
lake
even
like
know.
that?
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do Sin Eaters look like statues in Avatar?
Yeah.
That's a good one too.
That's good. Yeah, Roland, do you have one?
I don't want to ask many lore questions because it's Yoshi-P.
Yeah.
And even if it's truthful, it's going to be bullshit. And you're not going to like the answer.
I'm happy with bullshit. I don't mind bullshit. Even if I don't necessarily agree with it, I'd rather have an answer.
I feel like you're going to get like, oh, Alra have use their horns as ears type answer if you start asking more questions.
They do.
They do.
Monkey's paw, whatever he says is law.
Oh, sorry, no, they nuzzle or whatever. They nuzzle whatever. Fucking.
Yeah.
They kiss with their ear.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's tough. I think I'd ask him probably a game design thing in general. Something really fucking boring. Like if there's any kind of, I'd ask him to make a post-mortem on the spot right now. He has to answer it.
Not?
Yeah,
that's a very deep question to ask him.
But he has to answer it.
It's truthful.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'd make a post-mortem for a Realm Reborn right now and reflect and some of the difficulties and some design docs, and also any things you might have done different that you haven't already done different in patches or updates.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That's such a good idea. Why don't more game developers do their own post-mortem video essays? Why has it always got to be some random fan who has to dig out?
They should, and they do a lot of times actually, but they're just not. They don't get posted to mainstream gaming sites. They get posted to what that's Gamma Sutra, or what used to be Gamma Sutra. I think it's called something else now.
Okay.
The developer,
not every game developer starts a YouTube channel like Masahiro Sakurai.
True. God, I don't know what I would ask. I would.
What happened to the live action series?
Oh yeah.
Well, we already know that shit was just cut. There was a very.
It was COVID that stopped it.
There was COVID. There was an announcement.
I'd be curious as to what his involvement was from his.
Let us know the plot or something. Like when was it set?
Yeah, I want to know at what stage in development was Shepard dropped from the game, and why? Why were there buildings already in place? No, actually, what I want to ask is, are you removing all 1.0 stuff and ignoring it on purpose? That would be a more
quite hostile question.
Yeah.
Gil, I think if you asked him that, because he asked the answer truthfully, he would just say yes, and then that's it.
No, but it would be like a two-part question. And why?
Well, then you'd have to ask why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, because it sucked.
No,
Yes.
he can say that to anything. Everything can be like a one.
I don't like Tanaka that
Yeah,
much.
but you're asking. He can answer truthfully, and for him, that might
Why
be the
do
truth.
you hate 1.0? The 1.0
you
stuff.
see,
Because it's sucked.
You'll
question.
need to think about this before you start your question, because you don't get follow-ups.
Well, I
This is like working with a genie, Lucia. With one wish. You gotta
Okay.
be careful.
Well, I like Georgi. I like bullshit, so I'll just take the yes and be like, okay,
Yeah, that's
I got
fine.
it
At least you know.
confirmed. I got it confirmed.
You
I'll
just say
report it
it's
on
that
Speakers
good.
of Fidland next week
Why did you remove visual belts?
because they sucked.
Oh.
He says.
Okay.
I mean, that's what he'll
That's
say.
not really
That's
not
probably
really
an
the kind
answer.
of,
Yeah.
That's not really the kind of bullshit I want, though.
No.
I want,
No, but you
if
can't.
I'm asking a law,
What?
if I'm asking a law question, that is an example of something I would be unsatisfied with.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Here's the other bullshit. A waste of dev time. It's dumb.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
God,
See, that's an interesting response to a law question, I will say.
it feels so long since we had to pay tomestones for belts and have a belt slot.
Yeah.
Those were the days, eh?
What are we wearing now? Suspenders? Pitted
Yeah.
suspenders, maybe?
Oh, the
It's
days.
the only way to wear trousers.
The days when you lamented having to get a new belt in 1.0 because it'll fuck up your glamour, your gear. You suddenly got like a fucking plate belt, and you're like,
No one glamoured in 1.0. They knew
Some
they
people,
all looked
Mela,
like,
it was
they all
rough
looked
for
like
them.
peasants.
It was rough.
They did.
Everyone in 1.0 looked like a medieval peasant.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's true. They did, and they had like fucking Ida, like that kind of glamour, and
Yeah.
and Louis Swall, like you're wearing a hat, like a sabatons and
I love it.
a robe. That's
I
it.
love a Christmas tree MMO character.
Yes, Rollo.
Okay, I thought of a real question. No, it's just not a bullshit thing. So I would ask him to explain, or even say if there's any real reason as to why gearing in this game fucking blows, in particular for playing anything that's just one job for a patch. It is the gates for tombstone caps, I think, still suck. And same thing with drops in Savage, as well as not getting, like, you lose one coffer because one guy cleared already, like that.
Yeah.
I don't know,
feel
it's-
as if treadmill on this game isn't very good.
I mean-
yeah.
I agree with you, Rollo, but I feel as if he feels as if he's answered this question, and you will get something similar to what he said before, and it's like, we don't want you to do that.
Yeah.
Well, at least he says it directly, I guess.
Yeah.
I think they want people to not play the game. I feel like they
I
have
don't
to.
think that. I don't think,
No, that they
I
don't.
think that's what
I know,
they-
Mela,
there was
Mela,
a there was a dot where there was more coming up there.
Yeah.
You interrupted.
Yeah.
God. They don't
No,
want people
but
to play the game or feel like they have to play more than they otherwise would to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame,
Yes.
though. You're so, like the one of the big appeals, at least along, the taglines in the box are or whatever, for 14 is like, you can play all these jobs on one character.
Yeah.
You can never level.
Don't
you
gear
can never
them
gear
at
an
the same
alt.
time.
Yeah, you can only gear one job. That always sucks.
Better lock that shit in for the patch.
I
Don't
finished
change.
my tomes for tank, and now I can think, do I really want to cap every week? I mean, I probably will for now because I'm not bored of it, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't feel good to then at the end of a patch cycle be leveling your second job skill.
Yeah, like you do it on the catch-up patch, I guess, but it's the catch-up patch.
And then
you
it's
know?
one. Remember, the alliance gear is realistically for alt jobs.
Mhm.
Ostensibly for alt jobs based on the eye level, but you can only get one piece per week. Don't rush it too much.
Sorry. So, Nat in chat has brought up something that is not the phrasing is not necessarily how I would put it, but I think it's a possible alternative to housing demolition, where every so often you receive a land tax, and that's
No.
taken that's
Yes,
taken
damn,
directly out of your money but you can't lose your house as long as you can pay the land tax.
Yeah.
Also,
So
I feel like we
if
have
you have, like, a
gone
ridiculous
way
rent-
off this question, by the way.
you,
What are we doing?
I'm done with this question.
Okay.
So if you have a ridiculous amount of money, you don't have to worry about keeping up your sub.
Okay.
No, your land tax is also always percentage based on how much money you have. So you just you lose more.
Well,
the more rich you are.
it can't be always percentage based because then eventually it will never zero out.
That's
the
true,
idea
actually,
is that if you can't afford it, then you can lose your house.
Yes.
Enables you to vote too.
Yes.
Land-based voting in 14's been introduced.
Finally.
I've said this
People's
before and I
Council.
say it again. Thank God none of us work on this game. Like, what a nightmare.
I think this is a great idea.
This is a horrible idea. You already pay tax. You pay monthly for this game.
And hey, Lukia, what about this? All housing items have durability. They just naturally decay.
That's nasty. You know what? I don't even want to talk
You're
about
gone
this.
for 2 months. You have 2 gil left and your house is empty.
Actually, you know what? If they had durability, but the item still stays when it breaks, but it looks like shit.
Yeah.
It crumbles. It looks like it has
I mean,
cracks.
like
and,
the chocobo stables.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Oh,
that.
God.
That's a great idea, Rollo. That'll
That would be
never
cool.
be implemented.
That is-
'cause
It'll
it doubles the
never-
amount
The
of
deck
work
time,
required
yeah.
for every item.
like you can go to someone's house and you can tell, oh, this house has been abandoned.
It's just
No.
flies and sludge everywhere.
Fuck, I hate this.
That sounds
Also,
great.
let's just not forget. Georgi said that's a great idea.
Yeah,
Like,
It's a great idea.
it's not a great idea. It's a horrible
funny.
idea. Oh God, my house would be just look like a dump constantly because you'd have to What did you do? What would we have to do? Would we have to
By the way,
do we have to interact
Yeah,
with
every
it?
day.
I said the land tax was a great idea.
I think
That's
this
a
is all
clip.
good.
That's a clip. Georgi thinks land tax is a great idea, folks. Okay.
You've got to re-thatch your roof every 2 in-game months.
Oh, okay.
Retail the soil for your gardens. Don't
I
forget.
mean, you can tell that these are people that play on a modded Rust server because they would hate it normally when things
That's
decay
true.
if you don't
Fuck.
work on them.
We turned that off on purpose. Yeah.
I know.
You guys couldn't handle real rust.
Oh no. Okay. Sorry, Roxy Lalonde.
Thanks, Roxy.
We're
Good
way
question,
off. Good
'cause
question.
It sparked a lot of discussion.
Thank you.
Why don't you implement a land tax, Yoshi-P?
Yeah.
Don't ever
Really
ask him that. Don't
I'm gonna-
ever
yeah,
bring
bring it
this
up.
up
Someone bring it
again.
up.
This is
I've got a
horrendous.
great new idea for a question next week.
Okay. Thank you, Roxy Lalonde. We'll do. Yeah. More MogMail. Here we go. This is from Chrome Dome Masamune
Dome?
from
Bald?
Nova. Huh?
Reply back if you're bold.
Oh,
Chrome Dome.
Oh,
The name
no.
implies that you are.
Let me. It is simple. It is explained in this MogMail, I believe. Hello, speakers. I recently got my Black Mage to level 100, and I'm having an absolute blast with it. The Arcadia raids are challenging for me with all the movement, but being paired with Picto and the retrace skill helps with that. Also, Flare Star is extremely fun to pull off. One thing I always thought was weird was why they weren't using spell names like Fira, Firaga, and Firaja. I thought Final Fantasy XI handled this well with those names being used for the AoEs and the numerical spells reserved for single targets. I never really cared for the names like High Fire or Getting Fire 4 so early at level 60. If they would have stuck with the 11 names, we'd be using level 3 spells and the Gauss in our main rotation now. My question is, why do you think they avoided or aren't using names like Fira, Firaga, and Firaja in Final Fantasy XIV? Thank you for your time. Sincerely, the boldest Rogadan in Eorzea.
Yeah, but that's
Well-
his character. Is this?
I'm
him,
assuming
though?
that
Yeah, are you
implies.
bold IRL?
I am
Yeah,
assuming.
I'm gonna go with bald counter goes up, so we're at
Yeah.
8 now.
Yeah.
So Chrome
isn't-
Dome.
But
what
I
you've
have
gotta
a
do
feeling-
is go
No, I
To the
think
Great
we
Google
might
Library.
have. Yeah, we'll get to that. We need to get the bold
We need to
question.
get the bold, sorry.
That
Oh,
has to be
okay.
sorted.
Sorry.
The important thing.
Sorry.
I am worried
Bold.
that we might have already counted Chrome Dome already. So tentative count.
Tentative
If you
bold.
are in the comments or in chat, you need to let us know if we've already counted your boldness. Okay, go ahead.
So you need to go and do the Great Google Library hard, I think it was, and
I
read
thought it was
the
normal.
lore books. I don't remember.
One of them has a dragon
Do
boy
both.
gay, and
One of them has a gay dragon, and one of them has actual
the
lore
boy-
that people care about. Do the one
Yeah, the
people
boy and the
care
dragon
about.
gays, or the gay and whichever one it is.
The gay and the dragon boy.
The gay and the dragon boy. It's in Google hard.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
go and do Google and read the books, and it will explain it. Or switch to German or French, and then you can play with that to your heart's content.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, you'll then have to deal with German alpha now, and so.
But from the
Well-
but that's a lore reason that was added way later.
That's the in-law range.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think they're
Yeah.
mostly talking about like the.
Why
I
was
believe
the
the out of
yeah?
I believe the out of the real world explanation is very similar to the in-world one in the sense that they thought it was simpler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's why.
Like
yeah, go on.
I mean, I'm gonna say the game name. I'm sorry, Lakil, but in the Shin Megami Tensei series,
Oh no, that's fine. You can say Persona.
they have a similar system where they go like base spell with like a added thing and so on and so forth, and I still think that sucks. Like it's Zio and then Mazoinga for the AoE.
Mazoinga?
No, it's Zio and then Matsuo for the AoE, and then it's Zioga and Matsuoga for the next tiers, and so on.
Yes.
It doesn't read well, is what I'm saying. It is not a pleasant.
And then for the top tier skill, it's always something like flaming hell. Like they go out of their way to give them a real like English name.
Yeah. I just think the number system is much clearer, along with like high fire or high whatever. I think that works. Firaga and Firaga. I'm an English speaker. Like that doesn't feel good to say nor read.
Some of them are okay. I don't mind the gars and the jars and stuff, but they're not clear. And in the original Final Fantasy on the NES, it was Fire and Fur 2, and then it was the PlayStation one was Fire and Fire 2. They've switched them throughout the whole series. So if you're claiming like one is more real than the other, that's not necessarily true. They just it's vibes based depending on the game.
Whatever the localizer feels
Yeah.
like that week,
Yeah.
I don't know. I quite like. I mean, I was really hoping for Fire 5. To be honest with you, rather than getting a flare star and shit. So
I mean,
Yeah.
one of the interesting things about this game is that in the English localization, the fact that in the old form of magic, they did not use the numbers, is if you're looking at spells used by like Alligans, they use the terminology that we're talking about. So
Yeah.
they use Firaga.
Mm-hmm.
it's like an ancient terminology in our world.
Yeah.
And when
That's a
we
cute
were
little
rediscovering magic or whatever, the High Council of Magic, whoever it was, I can't remember.
Yeah.
Changed. The fact that there's a lore explanation and both are used and there's like historical reasons for one and the other makes it much more intriguing in this game anyway. So
Yeah.
What does that book say in the other localizations and the original Japanese?
it swaps
Because
it around for the.
Oh, so
for the
they
ones that
originally
have
used
Gar.
numbers?
I think so. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like Germans.
I think that's a much more absurd decision.
Yeah.
I think numbers are fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Actually, you should add the
It
suffix.
should be more complicated.
That sounds like
Yeah.
what a
It's
wizard
just-
would do.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's just to appeal to readability, especially for new players, people who don't understand
Yeah.
that kind of stuff in the series. Like, if you're a new Black Mage player and someone's like, "Oh yeah, so use fire and then Firaga and then for whatever," and then it's like, "What the fuck are you saying to
Yeah.
me?" You know?
Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't necessarily think ease of understanding is what determines how they name skills. If you have seen how they name samurai skills.
That's true.
That's true, and Sage as well.
That's
like,
true.
A lot of
Sage
that's,
as
like,
well. Yeah.
actually foreign languages.
That's like crazy. It seems like they abandoned that idea with those.
But they're
classes.
later classes, so it's fine.
Those are like words, like compound words or sentences of sometimes. Doing the same like word and then adding a suffix on it again and again, I think that's a bit more confusing than just reading Japanese, like Japanese and English characters.
Really? You want to stand by that
It's
statement?
more confusing than reading Japanese.
I mean, like, when they just write it in, like, Supamageshi or some shit, like, they just write it out, is what I'm saying. I think, like, it's a different word from, Meikyo Shisui. You know what I mean? It's a different thing in your head, but fire and Firaga and
I
it's a bit
suppose the
too similar.
equivalent would be if they did like Higanbana and then Higanbana-ga and then Higanbana-ga-ja, like it.
Well, you
Yeah.
only need to learn one word, and then you learn the 3 suffixes, and then you've cracked the code.
That is true.
That's how I feel
Well, in
about it as
Japanese,
well.
you have to know Japanese, or you have to literally learn every single skill's name.
I mean, you don't have to know Japanese, but, like, these are different. All of them are different.
I just think it's
None
a
of
very
them-
absurd statement to say that it's easier to read Japanese than to add 3 suffixes onto like an existing word in English.
I do also think I agree with what Chat's saying that like I think the numbering system for spells is a little bit confusing. The fact that like you open with Fire 3 and then you go into Fire 4 and then you use Fire 1 to maintain uptime,
Which
I
now
might be-
changes
I
to
might-
Paradox.
Yeah, I was gonna say I might be out of date in my Black Mage skill.
That's just a
And yeah,
different
Fire
conversation.
2 and Blizzard 2 were AoEs for no reason.
Yeah.
And then they switched to High Fire, which kind of helps because High means AoE, I guess. I don't know. But Black Mage is quite a poor example in naming, seems to be fair. Their names are a bit rough.
Yeah. I think... yeah. I don't know. It's...
And Thunder is single target, but Thunder 2 is AoE, and then Thunder 3 is single target, and Thunder 4 is AoE. Okay, dude.
They kind of had a theme going for a little bit. It was like, okay, well, 2s are AoEs.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
early on, but that
But
dropped. kinda
4's
quick.
not. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
That's just the Black Mage thing. That's the
And
different
then
conversation.
you have also like you have an AoE fire spell for Fire 2 and Flare, but then you have a AoE around you for Blizzard 2 originally. But
Yeah, they changed
Freeze
that 'cause
was
it's fucked up.
Freeze was a distance, but it was very confusing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's why Black Mage is the best class in the game.
Okay. Well, there you go.
feel so powerful with all your magic spells.
Thank you, Chrome Dome.
Stay bald, baby.
Stay bold, baby. Let's do one more. Here we go.
Oh my god.
This is from Netherum Guardius from Bismarck.
Bismarck.
Hello, speakers. Oh, this is too long. I see. Long-time watcher, but this is my first MogMail. I've been pondering this little conundrum of mine for several years now, but only now finally decided to ask you all about it. Exactly how much time has actually passed since we, as the Warrior of Light, first journeyed to a capital city at the start of A Realm Reborn, as well as exactly
None.
how long is each expansion story? I started this all when I was wondering exactly how old are the twins now, since when I started playing back in A Realm Reborn, I was about the same age as them. Then I thought, well, they haven't really aged at all. In pondering this, I came to the realization that in actuality, it's only really been about a year and a bit at most, which means all the events of 14, from the defeat of Ultima Weapon to the closing of the Dragonsong War to the liberation of Alamigo and Doma, even the saving of the first and traveling to the end of existence. Oh, and participating in the crowning of the next Dawn Servant. All this transpired only a few months between each other, it seems. That's a lot to happen to society in about a year. I came to this idea, though, estimating the amount of time it would take us to feasibly travel from one location to another, and assuming that the pauses in the narrative between expansion and updates are at most a few days each. Granted, it was a bit difficult since the only expansion that really has a timescale is Shadowbringers, due to us taking a nap at the inn between zones that can constitute about a day a zone. Then there's Endwalker, which I find a mess in regards to how long it actually takes. In playing, it only feels like a few days, similar to Shadowbringers, but we had to take a boat to Sharlayan that had to take at least a month. Then there's how long it took to get from Alamigo to Garlemald. Granted, we used airships for part of that, but we still walked a decent way to get there after they landed. But then there's when the Thavnir refugees got transported to Garlemald. It had to take a few days to a week to transport them there. But then they just show up there, not to mention how long it would have actually taken everyone to get all the materials needed to finish the Ragnarok. Then there's the seasonal events, which show 10 years have passed, but I take seasonal events as not exactly canon, since there's no way for a new player to experience past event stories. Now, I understand that this is a fantasy game, so stuff can happen faster, but that just means even less time has actually happened. This is mostly, though, due to me wondering when they are going to give the twins the Ellison growth spurt treatment. What do you think of this?
Never!
Thanks for taking your time to read this. Well, thank you, Netheram.
To throw more confusion into the mixture for your brain to go through, remember that for all of the scions who were transported to the first before we got there and spent a reasonable amount of time building up lives there, their souls are now older than their bodies.
Yeah.
Which is cool, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, time.
I mean, it's really frustrating to think that it's been like, if you say a year, it's been like a year, because too much has happened. I like to think of it as not real time necessarily, but I'd rather just feel like we're doing it in actual time. So it's been like 10 years. I'd rather feel that and enjoy that. Think that the yearly events are a little canon to some days.
See, I've already gone through this dilemma once in my life when they said that a year had passed since Ash had started his journey in Pokemon, and yet he is forever 10 years old. So I have long accepted that things like this happen, and I can't do anything about it.
No.
As much as they make me upset.
Yeah. Yeah,
it'd be difficult to age everyone every expansion. Like they clearly grow.
They would need to use. You have to make
need one time skip, I think. Yeah, and then you'll be set for at least another 10 years. I would say
feel like a time skip's so arbitrary at this point, though.
Well, they had the perfect opportunity.
They did,
in Walker, and they chose not to use it.
True.
They should have done that.
True. Yeah, I don't think. Go on.
If I had my way, or the way I would interpret, my fanon. There you go, my head canon. 5 years. I think it is 5 years since then. So I make the twins in their early 20s, I think.
Okay.
Everyone else
would make them 21, older. I believe.
I'm
or 20.
And I think that's enough time for each expansion. Not like give them a year or anything like that, but I think it's enough time to say since then.
It feels like if only a year has passed, the idea of Bahamut blowing the entire world up would still be reasonably fresh in everyone's mind. And to have gone through everything else since, like, these people are doing really well mentally. For
They're just built differently.
Garlemald has fallen in the space of a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Empire that was literally invading a few months ago has now fallen. And we've been to the moon and the end of the universe. And we've now got space travel and cars and an alien species has invaded in the West.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's going on?
What doesn't help too is that every patch, after you finish the patch quest, you're like, all right, go fuck around for a little while, come back when you're ready.
Yeah.
And it's like, how much fucking around am I doing?
Yeah.
Well, they normally when you come back, they acknowledge it as less than a week.
That's crazy.
Still, even then, with the amount of patches, we're moving this calendar. Please, I'm begging Yoshi-P, move it.
Yeah.
There's also lots of in-between stuff that happens because we have had the tales from things, like, you know, where Alize and Ystolda went for cookies in the Bismarck or whatever. So they're living lives. Things must be happening day to day. Time's definitely moving at a certain. It's just a bit slower than you want it to be, I think.
We have fought on like 3 different Garlean fronts. We have fought in Alamiko, Doma, and also Zadnor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bosnia.
True. Yeah.
You know what the dream would be?
Expected us to be able to do that.
They never expected us to move, to send their strongest warrior to all 3 of their islands.
No.
I think the dream would be maybe after the 0.3 patch, or even the end of this expansion with all the patches, I should say. They're like, okay, you're taking a break for real now, right? Everyone's parting their separate ways for a little bit, and you get some dialogue says, how do you choose to spend your time in between what's going to happen? Maybe like a couple of years pass, 2 or 3, something like that. Or that could be something that happens in the next expansion. Like, oh, where were you these past couple of years? Like, oh, I was, I don't know, some fucking islands. Yeah. Or like, it's a secret. Or, you know, some shit, you know, something.
Yeah.
It could, yeah, it wouldn't hurt. It would be nice to see some of the characters, you know, actually go through some... Because they've gone through so much character development, but they've done it in such a short space of time. I just want them to age and change. And
well, it's particularly frustrating when they acknowledge time passing. And like, I know that this MogMailer said that they don't count seasonal events, but the fact that like in one of the Rising events, they explicitly acknowledged that whatever his name is, that adventurer Mikote had been an adventurer for a year now. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
And every Heaven's Turn, I mean, it's another year gone.
Yeah.
We've gone through an entire cycle of Heaven's Turn symbols.
They can't be, like, they have to be a little canon, because they put so much effort into integrating into the lore. So.
Whenever I think about time passing in this game, I always think about Merlwyb, because she's the only city-state leader that has a term length. No, but if only a year has passed in game, then she's essentially still on her last year, I think. Like, she was brand new admiral in 1.0. She had like recently taken office, and we know 5 years passed after the calamity to A Realm Reborn. So let's say 6 years then when you start A Realm Reborn. She's on her 6th year, which would make her on her 7th year in office now, which means it's an election year, I guess, for her now.
No. Dictator for life. Okay.
Well, see, that's the problem. If it goes any further, then she's technically a dictator at this point. She's
good for her, though. Good for her.
Yeah.
What's that thing called?
The Trident.
Their election, the Trident. Wouldn't it be so cool if we could participate?
I think that would be a cool storyline to watch.
That'd be fun. Yeah. It'd be like this expansion again.
Yeah. I know you guys are saying it's 1.0 lore. This is A Realm Reborn lore as well. It's in the Encyclopedia Eorzea about the Lumens and Admiralty. So that is
they can't change that now.
No. But yeah.
And Chat's talking about how like we're assuming that there's 365 days in an Eorzean year. No, because if we're going by the cycle of day and night that they use in game, there's approximately 20 Eorzean days in one of our days, which means that if by their standards an Eorzean year is 20 times 365 days per year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I mean, all our characters have a birthday as well, though.
Yeah.
We do have that is correct, actually, Chat. Yeah. We do have a calendar on character creation, and there's more days in that than there are in our year.
True.
Yeah. But that's something.
Yeah. So there you go. I'm still holding out for a Trident storyline in A Realm Reborn. Cool. Remember, I was very hyped for it when they started doing the Limsa stuff in Oh, you meant
The lead up to Endwalker.
yeah, lead up to Endwalker. I thought, oh, this is it. They're gonna address it. It's gonna happen.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Did not, but
No.
oh well. Okay. We have one more. Thank you, Netherum. Sorry for the answer. The answer is time.
You'll never get a satisfying result.
Yeah.
Or
No.
answer.
No.
Never ever.
No. There we have one more. It's a very long one.
I don't know if we have time.
I don't think
it would
so.
be better to go to the article.
We'll save that for next week. We have a lot more at MogMail to get to. You can send us more, speakersfv.com/MogMail. Thank you to everyone who sent in. It is time for a Yoshi-P interview. Very, very random that it's done by Sports Illustrated, Sports Illustrated. But
Isn't the author's name?
the author's name is incredible as well, Griffin. So shout out to you.
No way that's real.
Griffin.
That cannot be. It
Griff
cannot
Griffin?
be. Okay, so let's jump in. We don't really need the... Okay, I'll read everything. Naoki Yoshida is a video game legend, producer, director, and designer at Square Enix. He's best known for his work on the Final Fantasy series, and most recently, the hugely successful MMO Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. His career started in 1996 with Bomberman 64, The Second Attack. Everyone remember that one?
It was so
That
random.
banger. And Star Soldier, Vanishing Earth.
I mean, I at least know Bomberman.
Yeah, I know
I don't really know
Bomberman.
Star
I will
Soldier
say-
Vanishing Earth.
I did rent that game from Blockbuster, and it was pretty dope.
It
Which
is-
one?
Bomberman 64.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, my friend loves that game too, actually.
Okay.
It's a certified classic.
Is that not the sequel, or was the first game on the Nintendo 64 called Bomberman 64: The Second Attack? Do we know?
I'm not sure. It's
Okay,
been so long.
Yeah,
Sorry.
obviously,
I
it's a very old game.
You're asking knowledge. You're asking very archaic knowledge at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Yoshida. Okay. Chat is thinking it might be the sequel, so let's go with that. Yoshida joined Square Enix. Okay, it is the sequel to Bomberman 64.
Oh,
okay,
okay.
we're locking that in. Yoshida joined Square Enix in 2004 as a member of the Dragon Quest X team. His storied history in the Final Fantasy series kicked off when he was hired as the director of Final Fantasy XIV, his masterwork. First released in 2013 on PC and PS3, it's still going strong, with an Xbox version launched in March 2024 and its fifth major expansion, Dawn Trail, coming not long after. In the interview below, we talk about the future... Oh, typo. In Sports
No.
Illustrated.
What the hell?
We talk...
Griff?
Oh, so maybe he means like...
No,
we talk the future of Final
We talk
Fantasy
the
XIV.
future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just Google did not like that in Final Fantasy XIV. What other Final Fantasy games he'd love to remake, and how many more years he has left in the industry.
That's a bit morbid at the end.
Yeah.
It's a little,
Many people-
calling 14
and-
his masterwork is fine and acceptable, but
Well, he is getting up there in age, though.
16?
Yeah, but
Oh.
he's the director and producer of 14,
that's true,
whereas he's
yeah,
only
that's
the
true.
producer
That's
on
true.
16.
Yeah.
That's true. But I mean, 16 was a banger.
Video games and sports.
Also,
Yeah. Go on.
I just think that what he did with 14 is 16 would have to be a revelatory game for it to
Yeah.
overtake what he
I
was
suppose
able to
that's
do
true
with
too.
14.
He
Yeah.
turned this around, whereas that was always going to be good.
Yeah. Final Fantasy XIV is a huge success. What areas of the game would you like to improve the most? Yoshida says, rather than say in the sense of improving the most, Final Fantasy XIV is an MMO, and we are constantly expanding the world. Our main goal for the time being is to incorporate game experiences that players haven't seen before in Final Fantasy XIV.
Oh,
That's not an answer.
No, that's a
I like
Yoshi-P
that. It's
answer.
really, instead of saying like we want to revolutionize the genre
Mhm.
or even gaming as a whole, it's we'd like to make sure you experience something you've not experienced yet in
Yeah.
Final Fantasy XIV.
Yes, yes.
So far in this game.
Yeah, playing mahjong with the silence.
With voice
Yeah.
lines, guys. It's never happened before in MMO.
I mean,
Well,
I've
in
seen a
Final
lot of
Fantasy
people.
Oh, 14,
I've
sorry.
seen a lot of people in Western forums like Reddit making fun of the voicing for the mahjong thing. I think people underestimate how significantly more Japanese people play the mahjong in 14.
It's still funny.
Specifically.
still very funny.
It's still funny. No, I'm not saying it's not funny. I'm just saying I think people say it's a waste of dev time. I think that it's actually a worthwhile investment for them.
It's not a waste of dev time because people are sub to this game just to play their Mahjong.
Yeah, that's true.
They can't deal with the microtransactions for all their waifus in Mahjong Soul. Like, it's just irritating.
Okay. Could you elaborate on why the Final Fantasy IX Easter eggs were in Final Fantasy XIV?
That's a vague way of referring to how 9 has been implemented into 14.
I would say they're not Easter eggs in Dawn Trail. I would say they're pivotal.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Direct references.
Yeah. Oh,
Sports Illustrated.
Yoshida answers, and we're about to get a Yoshida answer when it starts like this. I remember when the original Final Fantasy XIV was released.
I remember my day.
I bet I'd get on really well with Yoshi.
Yeah, you'd
sit there
would.
With your cigarillos.
Cigarillos.
That was back in 2010, and it was on PC. And at that time, I was not part of the development staff. But I remember seeing the response from the media and the players. I played it myself, and I felt that it's really not like a typical Final Fantasy title. There really wasn't much typical Final Fantasy-ness that you would expect, and I remember the media and the players saying that feedback a lot as well.
Do we know much about Yoshi-P's history with 11?
No, I don't think he's talked... I don't know if he might have played it. I feel like maybe he has talked... Was he not interviewed in the...
No, he wasn't.
He was not at all? Okay. Interesting. So I guess maybe he has no history.
He's definitely talked about it somewhere, but
it's...
Yeah.
Like WoW and shit.
If he played Ultima was like around the same time as 11 as well, so maybe he was
I think like some of the other people who worked on it talk about like how it impacted.
Yeah.
Or some other 14 people like, we used to play 11. I think maybe like Foxconn.
Yeah, Foxconn definitely did. That was part of the interview that we read. Foxconn played 11, and that's how he got his job at the company.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is because the way he says that this is not a typical Final Fantasy title, if he'd played 11, maybe he might not have thought that, but I don't know if he has.
Because, 14 original was like, imagine taking everything from 11 that was not good and giving it a better...
Well, what's interesting about 11 is that 11 actually had classic Final Fantasy jobs, but 14 wanted to be something else.
Different.
So they made Conjurer, they made, Lancer, like they made things that weren't, very traditional.
11, for all its clunkiness, is a Final Fantasy. I mean, it's got charm, it's got personality, it's got character.
Yeah.
1.0...
It needed, if anything,
that's a rough one.
It needed a couple of years more in the oven.
Much more dev time.
And even then, I don't think it would have.
If 11, if 1.0 had the time to cook to become what Tanaka thought it should be, and what 11 version 2, it would never have reached these numbers.
No.
Ever.
Well, absolutely not.
It would have a niche following of people, probably still now, but it would never.
It would have been around 11's player base.
Yeah, it would have been in the background.
Yeah. I feel like we've talked a lot about what if 1.0 had been given the time to be properly to get what they intended as for release. I feel like we don't often talk about. Imagine if Yoshi-P had all the time in the world to turn 14 around, rather than a schedule that he had to get it released at.
I think even just a couple more years, they could have maybe cleaned up some of the spaghetti. That would have been so much better.
I still really feel like, I don't know why I'm so drawn to it, but it makes so much sense in my head that if 1.0 had continued with Tanaka, and they got to do what they wanted and kind of evolve a little bit, I think it would have just been like a RuneScape-like game. Where you make your stats go up, like you grind your culinary skill, you grind your alchemy skill, and you just make the number go up with some weird, not great combat.
Yeah, the design philosophy between the jobs was that you specialize. White mage and black mage had access to the same elemental magic, and you would build whether you would as a white mage we are locked into actual elemental magic, and Thaumaturge is locked into, or black mage is locked into their elemental magic. You're drawing from your, there's a whole other system now. But back then you were like, okay, a white mage can do fire too. And a black mage can do fire too, but you can also choose to be a white mage that only does. I've put all of my stats in like wind elemental magic, which is, that there is
as long as you can respec though, that's fine. But if you cannot respec easily, that's kind of system can be really damaging.
The A Realm Reborn Stone, Althic thing. That's like a leftover from 1.0.
It was too expensive.
I think I don't remember if that item was in 1.0. If there was a way to I think you could change your stats constantly, actually. I think they were never locked in. You could always up and down as long as you had the points to do it. You could do that.
There are I'll post it in chat who are here, but there's that old 2.0 like pre-release screenshot where they find the Chimera. And I love looking at this UI.
That's like a fusion between
really
1.0 and
Yeah, I really like this UI a lot.
Yeah,
I was a big fan when I saw it.
It is
in here. I gotta.
You can tell
there's so many interesting elements here. Like they had like, I guess that's the aggro meter and stuff, and like the UI elements they could show then seemed quite a bit higher than what was on release.
Yeah, it's
really cool.
Looking at the duty list on the right-hand side, it's surprising how much of that is similar to... Yeah.
Just keep talking.
It's surprising how much of that is similar to like what we ended up with in the beta of 14, that it took them that long to change it to what we have now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember, playing on that. And like having like the 2 rows of the buttons.
Yeah.
And everything.
This is very. You can see.
The beta for 2.0 was fun.
This is literally.
This
is literally the 1.0 hotbar.
Doesn't it look good though? Doesn't this look good?
I think they had an idea.
Do you remember? Nice I don't know if you remember how 1.0's like hotbar worked, but you had to like press a button and then up to switch to the next.
You had to
like tab through them to get to the one you wanted, and you had. That's the I think, they've evolved the macro hotbar, which you press by holding tab. No, sorry, Alt. It would like pop up an extra bar, if I remember correctly, which was your macro bar. Yeah.
There are just some elements that I like the health bar at the top with the gradient, and like the HP, MP, TP bars. Like.
I miss in this picture is the fact that you have the FC crests or the link shell crests.
That's really nice looking. Yeah, it looks
which
so
is
good.
What everyone had in 1.0.
I'd like that as a UI element.
Who is the lady killer?
That's the title. I think that's Romeo Guildenstern.
That's the title. The lady killer. Yeah.
Oh, it was then.
Dragon Slayer. Yeah, these are old. Materia Hunter.
It's cute though. Materia Hunter for Yuffie is cute.
Yeah. Also, obviously, this is the old. This is the old engine, so you can see that you can tell by the lighting on the chocobo. It has.
I do remember this screenshot, and it got me excited.
Yeah, this made me very excited. It's like, oh my god, it really is a whole different game. But now, when I look at it now, it's like. It really is just like 1.0 and then with an A Realm Reborn.
Yeah, they've just put a nice UI on a
Oh my god, actually, look at that full party list with the buff timers.
Right?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
But the icons as well look nice, and the up arrow for buff and down arrow for debuff, and it looks so clean.
It follows that like a 1.0 design philosophy where it's like it all has to be like in a style, not necessarily for good readability. It's not easy to immediately understand what you're looking at. Yeah.
I think the game, with the slower pace it had, it kind of made sense. Like you can get away with being a bit more stylized and tabbing through your skills or whatever.
Yeah.
Could not do that in Modern 14 at all.
Oh,
yeah. So there you go. That's, wow. Why are we here? 1.0, eh? Okay. Anyway, so
right, this was an interview.
Anyway, the interview. Yes. Yoshi-P, he was playing 1.0, and so he felt that it was not a typical Final Fantasy title. So when I eventually took charge of the project and I was in charge of relaunching Final Fantasy XIV, I considered the long history the Final Fantasy franchise has. But I thought that the franchise itself is a little bit weak in the sense of fan service, and especially considering that this is a game that regardless of your age, your gender, your country, anyone can enjoy and play together. And when I had that in mind, I thought I wanted to have one concept of Final Fantasy XIV being as a theme park for the franchise of sorts. And up until now, we had yet to really incorporate many elements of Final Fantasy IX. So that's the main reason why we decided to incorporate more of the essence of Final Fantasy IX.
That's a
That's
silly
a very
thing to say.
long-winded answer to say that.
Yeah. He wanted to just give a full
dangerous
background.
topic thing to say, though, to say, oh, we've not really done much Final Fantasy IX up until now, so that's why we did it. Because now I was going to be like, well, excuse me, you've not really done much of this one.
Yeah.
When are we going to get the Final Fantasy this storyline Yoshi-P? And then,
Yeah.
I've done Final Fantasy 13. Remember, Shinryu was inside Cocoon during the patch. So they've done enough 13, thank you.
Well, also, there was a whole event thing, but that wouldn't count with the crossover event.
I don't think so.
What is the synergy like between the various Final Fantasy teams, and are there any ideas that could be shared between the teams? Yoshi-P says, the franchise is quite unique in the sense that whenever a new title is released, the characters are different, the world is different, the story is different, the world design is different, and the battles are different. So, of course, between the teams, we have been sharing technology. But when it comes to the question of synergy from a game design perspective, when I think about Final Fantasy XIV, it is true we took materia from Final Fantasy VII. So in that regard, we were paying homage to Final Fantasy VII. So I think that there is quite a strong synergy in Final Fantasy XIV, and at the same time, it is the same team who developed Final Fantasy XVI. So in that sense as well, I think we have recently had a strong synergy between the titles.
How many games have materia?
2. Unless did 11 have the materia?
Yes.
Oh, then 3.
I think the spin-offs usually had actually.
Oh yeah, spin-offs,
Didn't it?
but that's difficult.
Oh god. Let me double.
7 was
I need
the
to fact
first
check
game with
myself.
materia, and then they never added it again.
Tactics had it too,
Um,
or something similar at least.
Well,
It's-
Yoshi-P loves Tactics.
Was Tactics called
Oh,
materia?
Legend materia is what I'm thinking about.
No, I think it just referenced material. Never mind. There wasn't like slotted
Yeah.
material or anything.
I think it was just 7 and 14, to be honest with you.
Okay. Yeah, there you go.
It's not a common trope in it was one magic system. Then it was drawing. How many games have draw and junction?
No, that's true. This
Yep.
one does, but
Yep.
not for us.
Yep.
It's only
Not-
referenced in this one boss's skills.
Yeah.
But it's an unusual. Again, like they also have Magitech Walkers, which is from 6. I don't understand the question. 14 has so many Final Fantasy references, and the synergy seems great between all Final Fantasy. And they all have Cactuars, for example. They all have Tonberries.
Legend materia is from Record Keeper. No, there is no materia in 11. So yeah.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. If you could remake any classic Final Fantasy game, what would you make? Yoshi-P
Good
says,
question.
oh man, that's a super tough question. The one that I would like to make myself would be Final Fantasy III, I think. Of course, I do know there are requests for Final Fantasy IX to be made. But when you think about Final Fantasy IX, it's a game with huge volume. When you think about all of that volume, I wonder if it's possible to remake that as a single title. It is a difficult one. It is a tough question.
I think you need to make 4 games and release them 3 years apart.
Yeah, I think that's a
that's the
great
only way to
idea.
do it.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, I think that's an interesting answer considering that leaked list that showed 9 on it, and most of the games on that list eventually did get released, which makes me think that maybe either those were internal dates, obviously not meant to be leaked. So it is possible that 9 was either cancelled internally or it's been postponed or something. But
I would not be surprised if they decided to either cancel or rework what they were doing with 9 as a result of the fact that what they've realized with 7 is that even if Rebirth is an amazing game that has a very good chance of winning Game of the Year this year, it is very difficult to get new people to pick up the second game in a trilogy.
100%. Yeah.
True.
Doesn't help that it's on PS5 too,
That
compared to PS4 for the first one.
Yeah, I mean, different generations for different parts of the game is wild.
Yeah.
I just I personally could not bring myself to be interested in 7 Remake at like this pace of it being made. I'd rather just wait until it's finished. You know?
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna hop on any in-between title too. Like, it's dumb.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I don't think I want 9 to be remade as a trilogy or whatever.
Make it one game. Like just we used to do
can
that.
Make it
a
big game.
Maybe
used to do that back in the day.
You don't have to spend $1 gazillion. You know.
No.
The main issue there is that Square Enix like prides itself on its graphical fidelity.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
I think that they feel like a Final Fantasy game has to be up to that level of visual acuity. So they cannot release a game that is even just a remake of a game in the mainline series that was 3D and not have it be the best so that they can make it visually look. And it's difficult to do that in a game that was as big as 9.
That is true. I don't think they could do it justice at this point. I think it's really difficult because 7 Remake is hyper, realistic colors, gritty, whatever. And 7 was quite a realistic game. Similarly, 16 worked within its art style.
Yeah.
But 9 was so whimsical and fantasy and like stylized.
I
just
It
don't
doesn't
think
call
they
for
could do
that
it
kind of budget at all.
No, it doesn't. But I don't know how.
No, it doesn't. But I think they could do it. I mean, look at games like Mario Odyssey, where like it is a very stylized aesthetic, but it still looks very visually sharp.
That's true.
So I think they could do it.
I think they could, but
Just
I just
don't.
I don't trust them to because
They're not going to do that with a Final Fantasy game.
realistic.
They're not going to do that.
And they have the World of Final Fantasy engine as well, which is probably the one that would be the easiest to repurpose into 9.
I think 9 in the graphical style.
What
will
engine?
be fine.
The fan game that's being made is made in. Is that Unreal?
I have no idea.
Oh, I don't know.
I think it is Unreal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unreal 5 or something.
So it doesn't. I mean, there are many. I mean, they like using. Isn't
More
Unreal 5
projects.
what they use for Kingdom Hearts as well? I think that's the.
Yeah, it is Unreal Engine.
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Kingdom Hearts 3 was Unreal 4, I think. Or was it 5? I think 5, I don't think 5 was out yet when
I
3
don't
came
think
out.
5 was out for Kingdom
So I'm
Hearts 4 was
assuming
one
it's going to
time.
be Unreal 5 for because they've said that they're not going to make their own game engines anymore. They're just going to they're going to license others. So I think it's probably going to be Unreal for if they were going to make a 9. They can do that with an Unreal 5.
They could. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 4, you just in no other engine can you get feet quite like that. Sora's
They
feet.
do have the most uncanny
I mean,
views.
Yeah.
I don't. Are you talking about from the trailer, Mailer?
Yeah.
I don't think the feet are in an engine. I think those are. I think that's visual works.
That's Visual
Yeah, it
Works.
is,
Or
yeah.
whatever
Visual
they're
Works.
called something else now.
Good feet.
What?
Crystal Dynamics?
I hate
No,
it.
never
I
mind.
hate it.
It's kind of like it's got dynamics in the title. I think it's
I mean,
something.
Crystal Dynamics made Tomb Raider, didn't they?
Oh.
Final Fantasy podcast, folks.
Who knows? Whatever. Listen, Brandon, get the shit together. Be a decent company. My God.
Yeah.
Remember when you did FF7 and then like FF8, like in 2 years?
Oh, guys,
2 years apart. Like,
Yeah.
they remade it to a much better name. Visual Works, very very recognizable
Visual
name.
Works, mate.
Visual Works. It's now
what they say.
called Square Enix Image Studio Division.
Yay.
So
Good name.
yeah,
Image Studio.
yeah, Image Studio. Okay. Anyways, moving on.
Video Studio, surely.
Well, that's just what they've decided, Mela. This is what it is. They're good at their naming schemes. On to
Business Unit 3.
on to Dawn Trail. What is the subtext of Dawn Trail? And for you, what is it about?
It's always
Okay.
like sacrilegious acts any
Yeah.
creator this about
Yeah.
their work.
Yeah.
Like, what did you intend with your story? What's the deeper meaning, man?
When you talk about deep meanings, I haven't really considered such noble things when I engage in day-to-day development. Final Fantasy XIV is an MMORPG, and the reason for creating the expansions is to expand the world. So, in that sense, each expansion has its own meaning, and that's what it was what it was this time, the theme of this expansion. But when we look at Dawntrail, the main theme that we had was to create a new area. So this would be a new area that players would see, they would get to know about, and then they would be able to travel across that area. So with that as the theme in mind, if you were to ask whether we had created Dawntrail to be the best form of entertainment, my answer would be no. But rather, it's the case that this is a step that we will be taking when we look towards the future of Final Fantasy XIV.
I think that's a better question to ask the writers than Yoshi-P based on this answer.
Yeah.
Did he understand the question?
We wanted to make a good game.
What we wanted was to no, he said it's not good entertainment.
No, it's not even
sorry. We wanted more content for our game.
He didn't say he didn't want to make good. He said he didn't want to. He wasn't aiming to make the best form of entertainment.
Yeah. He's just expanding the map. That is essentially
Were they not
his answer.
after talking about learning about different people and like?
Oh
how
God,
different
Mela,
people
don't
can
say
come
that. The
together?
comment section. I don't. Oh, for God's
Not
sake.
the diversity. Not diversity.
Diversity. They hate
Is that not what they were asking for?
No.
In this question? And then,
I think Yoshi-P was trying to save Sports Illustrated as well by answering that. Okay.
Sorry. I love this expansion for being not the best form of entertainment.
Yeah, thanks for expanding the area. Thanks for giving us more area to move around in.
I love
Thank
that.
you.
That's what I care about.
What is the future of Final Fantasy XIV then? They
Probably
asked?
to expand
Broad
with more
question.
areas. More areas and not to the best form of entertainment.
This is a great answer. So, my target with Final Fantasy XIV is to have as many players as possible enjoy the game across all devices. So there you go.
Number go up.
Yeah,
That's
number
fair,
go up.
yeah.
So we will
He
continue.
has said this for ages. That he wants to put it on every console. It's just a matter of is it going to happen?
Yeah, so we will continue expanding on this and continue making content and forms of play so that players will be able to enjoy the game. This is a concept that I had in mind right from the start of the project, and I would like to continue working towards that vision.
Wow. Lofty.
Yes. Do you have
Making something that people can enjoy?
But it's not the... In terms of enjoyment, it's like an 8 out of 10. He doesn't want to make it an 10 out of 10 experience.
We were not trying to aim too high on this.
But good.
We
Quite
don't
good.
want to be greedy.
We're not making Casablanca.
Right. Do you have any news on the Final Fantasy XVI Xbox port? Of course, we did announce the PC version of the game, so looking towards the Xbox version, we do want to release it on Xbox. But when it comes...
Oh, sorry, 16. Okay,
yes, 16.
God. For a second, I was so confused. We didn't announce PC.
But when it comes to the specifics, such as when the game would be available and such, we are not in a position to be able to share anything. But of course, I want to say that it's not as if there's zero hope, and we very much do want to achieve that. So players should not give up in terms of their hopes. That's such a Yoshi-P answer again. It's like, don't give up hope, Xbox players, even though...
Keep hope alive.
Yeah.
You should give
Guys,
up those 5 people.
Don't give up, dude. Okay, keep your hope alive.
Yeah. What's been your favorite mini game from across Final Fantasy? We already know this, though.
Yeah.
That would be the snowboarding in Final Fantasy VII. The reason why is because I go snowboarding myself in real life. Actually, back in the time the original Final Fantasy VII was being developed, snowboarding had a huge boom in Japan, and I think that probably played a part in the development of that minigame.
It's a good minigame, which unfortunately we can't play yet in the remake.
Is it not in the second one?
It's
the
in
new
the
remake?
third. It's going to be in the third
It's
one.
probably
They
gonna be
teased in the second one.
okay.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't have time, or maybe I can't remember when it comes up, but it's pretty a good one actually in 7.
Yeah, it's just like a block, like a
It's like SSX Tricky.
Yeah.
It's,
I suspect you'll get specific outfits for it again in the same way you did for Costa del Sol, because it would be weird for them to be walking around in what they wear normally in a place that is built for snowboarding.
Yeah.
It's going to be good though.
Professionally, what's next in your career? I don't really think about where to take my career next.
God, it's the worst interviewee ever.
I just want to continue making games. That's my top priority. I would like to stay...
What games?
I would like to stay on the front lines and be involved in game development. Having said that, I consider Final Fantasy XIV as my life work. So I would like to continue developing 14 until I retire. And I would like to arrange it so that even after I retire, 14 will continue.
How much longer are you planning on working? You're not that old.
No.
He's in his 50s. When is retirement age in Japan?
80.
Old.
Oh, it's old.
I see.
Maybe never.
Maybe
Let
never.
it die at your desk.
Yeah. In terms of my future dream, I would like to buy a mountain where it's
Oh.
Sorry.
Wait, what?
Let me take a second just to reread that. In
Yeah.
terms of my future dream, I would like to buy a mountain where it snows, and on that mountain, I would build a cottage, and I would acquire all the machinery, all the equipment for making games, and I would develop games remotely.
Wow.
And whenever it snows, then I would be out there on that mountain snowboarding every day. So that's my ultimate goal that I have in mind.
Oh,
There
so he's
you
going
go.
for the reverse Sakaguchi. Instead of an island, he's going for the mountains.
Yes.
Because that's basically what Sakaguchi does in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So they're gonna have to rename Fuji-san to like Naoki Yoshida Mountain.
I think
Yeah.
that's a very expensive goal to pick the one of the most famous mountains in the world.
Pretty
and
sure.
not just a generic mountain.
Pretty sure
if
you
you
can't
have
buy
a dream, Yogi, go for the best dream, all right?
that.
Buy Fuji-san.
Yeah, sure. There was a 2-year gap between Endwalker and Dawn Trail. Will the next DLC...
DLC. Sports Illustrated.
It's not what we call it here.
How fucking dare you? Will the next expansion have a similar gap? Yes. There will
Yeah. I mean, obviously.
there will be the same time gap involved. I intend to continue that, and we will continue to deliver new experiences for the players. Between expansions, we do plan major content updates, and generally, we plan 2.5 years ahead. So we are continually working on providing new experiences for the
Sorry.
players.
I'm getting the impression we're very close to the end of the interview. I get the impression that Yoshi-P thinks he's talking to an idiot.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, he
But
might...
I feel like
I
the
think he's-
interview is also at the point where he's like,
But-
I've asked him some like really personal questions. He's gone, I just completely avoid the question.
I think he understands that he's being interviewed by Sports Illustrated, and that the audience that reads Sports
Yeah.
Illustrated is not us. You know,
That's
like
why he
this-
talked about snowboarding so much.
Well, I think that's he's trying to. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not saying that the interviewer is an idiot. I'm saying that like it feels like Yoshi-P is talking to a layperson rather than someone that is involved
Oh
in
yeah, for sure.
our game.
For sure. Yeah.
Which Gurgi just calls an idiot. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone who's not playing 40 is a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
I
well,
just said
that's fine.
that I'm not calling them an idiot. Thank you very much. Stop recontextualizing what I said to be the opposite of what I meant.
You're a huge figure in the industry with a lot of fans. Do you have a message that you would want to get out to your fans at this stage of your
you can't
career?
fuck this one up.
Message
You're
incoming
gonna have to
from
get a real
Yoshi-P,
answer.
guys.
You have to get a real answer.
Incoming
Directly
message.
into your brain.
I want to say thank you to all of our players. They've provided passionate support, not just for us, but for other Square Enix games as well. And they've really gotten us through tough times. So, more than anything, I would like to say thank you so much to our players. In the Final Fantasy franchise, we have support from all of our fans and also in the media, and the same goes for Final Fantasy XVI as well. But I would just like to say that Square Enix is working really hard to provide new experiences and releasing new games. Well, we are...
Work harder.
Work harder.
You guys suck.
We are going through some tough times at the moment, but we very much appreciate the support of our players. So we do hope that you will convey our thanks to all our fans and players. Well, they are going through some... Well, they
They
did...
are.
I don't think that's an inaccurate message. Remember, they did cancel a lot of like AA titles that they had in development because they realized that's where a large amount of their money was being lost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's some
Well,
painful
don't
restructuring
worry.
going on.
Hopefully figure out some kind of better development cycle because this can't keep going.
Well, yeah,
No.
they're on a,
couple years.
they're working on a different development cycle.
Yeah.
Thank God they managed to release
We don't know
various day lives or whatever it was called.
I
Yeah.
think that wasn't that hard for them to release because that was just a port of a game, of
Yeah.
a mobile game.
Yeah.
That's what and Forspoken was a success, I think.
Restructuring no more Western games. They do still have Western games. They're still really Life is Strange. Double Exposure. I can't remember what it's called. Is coming out very soon.
But
Yeah.
do we know if they're going to keep doing that after this? I wonder if that's also going to be taken down in the restructure.
I believe they still own.
Is that not
studios?
Oh, okay. They own the... Okay, I see.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
believe so.
They
but I
got rid
could
of
be mistaken.
Eidos, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
which was good. They should not have really had Eidos, if you ask me. But
I don't think they had any idea what to do with Eidos.
No,
No.
they used to make good games though.
Yeah.
If you ever read some of those postmortems or like interviews on Deus Ex Human Revolution, it is insane. Why was Square Enix involved in that at all?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, but the first Deus Ex remake was really...
I don't
That
think
you
I
said.
played any of their remakes. Okay, well, anyways, that's the interview, and that's, as they say, that's the show as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Remember to follow on Twitter at SpeakersXIV, twitch.tv/SpeakersOfHeidland, youtube.com/SpeakersXIV, exclamation Discord and chat if you want to join our Discord server. And if you're watching on demand, link is in the description. Remember, you can send us MogMail at SpeakersXIV.com/MogMail. And that...
Keep the bald counter up. Remember, please.
Keep the bald
comment
counter
below
up. Yeah.
If you've already been counted.
Are you
Need to know.
bald? Let us know. If you're not bald, let us also know, I guess, just so we can like make sure you're not on the list. So leave that in the comments as well. All right. If you're watching live, the poster is coming up. See you there. Goodbye.
Bye.